Donna Lake and her sister grew up in Kansas City, Missouri, where they spent lots of time alongside their industrious parents. Lake's father was a firefighter who utilized his off hours to operate businesses, including a used car lot and real estate. Her mother and the entire family were involved in making it work.
Growing up, I had a really interesting and unique family life. And so, my mom didn't work outside of the home in a traditional sense, but whatever my parents were doing, they really included us. And, being able to see those examples of work ethic is what got me to where I am today.
In high school, Lake enjoyed her English and history classes. She also developed valuable skills in forensics and thrived on being a strong team member and leader.
My parents thought I was always cut out to be an attorney, but I did not want to be in a courtroom. So I think just working with the team members and having to lead arguments and having to lead a team is where I started getting that idea of leadership.
Lake chose to attend the University of Central Missouri to pursue a degree in public relations. She was a first-generation college student who was eager to chart her course. One of her favorite parts of college was her involvement in the Sigma Kappa sorority.
We had certain standards for scholar levels that we needed to achieve, and so I think it was just that competitive nature that I have that drove me as an influence, wanting to be as good as or better than my other roommates and sorority sisters. And with my parents not having college educations, just their inspiration, and they really pushed into my work ethic. I wanted to make their lives better, my life better, and do all the things I could do and see how far I could, what goals I could achieve and how far I could go in college.
Lake graduated with a degree in public relations in 1992. Inspired by her father's devoted service as a firefighter, she began her career with the Kansas City Fire Department later that year.
When I came on in 1992, I was one of about 37 females on the fire department out of a force of about 1,000 firefighters. So everybody was able to know who all the females were. And we all had a lot of different experiences. So like any job, when you first come on, start a career, you have to prove yourself a little bit.
Retired KCFD Fire Chief Smokey Dyer was able to witness much of Donna Lake's career as she ascended from the position of firefighter onto the highest ranks of the department's leadership.
I had the pleasure of promoting Chief Lake to the position of Battalion Fire Chief. And her first assignment was the commander of the Hazardous Materials Division. The Kansas City, Missouri Fire Department is the only department in the state of Missouri that has a dedicated hazardous materials company. I then had the opportunity to promote Chief Lake to the rank of Deputy Chief, and she was assigned as the commander of the Special Operations Bureau.
Lake's responsibilities continued to increase, as her work included developing strategies for dealing with potential terrorist threats. When Major League Baseball held its All-Star game at Kauffman Stadium, she represented the department on the coordinating committee of all city officials. In 2014, she became Assistant Fire Chief, which among many other duties included responsibility for the department's then $166 million budget. Her next stop was as Deputy City Manager. Lake accepted the position as Kansas City, Missouri's fire chief in the fall of 2019. The events that dominated America's headlines during her first year as chief would test her resolve in extraordinary ways.
About 30 or 40 days into my year as fire chief, we started prepping for this COVID-19 response in this pandemic, and then it became working daily, on a daily basis, taking the information that we were learning about the pandemic daily and changing our policies and procedures. And so it's been just a really all hands on deck kind of year. And then through that, we've also responded to all of the social injustice demonstrations and things that were going on in our community, because we wanted to be there to support, as people were, out in the streets voicing their opinion about what's going on around them in the world. We wanted to make sure that they were able to do that in a healthy and safe way.
Included in her message at UCM's December 2020 commencement ceremonies was a suggestion for the newly minted graduates to remain curious and continue their educational development throughout their professional careers.
I think it's very important for these students as they go out into the world to continue to be lifelong learners. For myself, I do that all the time. I have my emergency medical technician license, so I have to do continuing education for that. I've gone back and gotten a master's degree. I've got my executive fire officer degree. here at UCM, going through the public relations program, I use that in my everyday job all the time, constantly. You know, whether I'm sitting in front of a council meeting, whether I'm in the city manager's office, do a budget presentation, you know, meeting with constituent groups and other community groups in the public eye, I use that degree and the skills that I've learned from my foundational education here at UCM.
Lake is the mother of 2 adult daughters and a 12-year-old son. Today, she's busy leading a Metro Fire Department comprised of 34 stations, more than 1,300 personnel, and a budget in excess of $250 million. While she followed her father's footsteps into the profession, she's blazed her own trail in becoming the first female fire chief in the 151-year history of the Kansas City, Missouri Fire Department.
Chief Lake is an individual that has unquestioned integrity, honesty, commitment, and dedication to the organization. As a former full-time professor at the University of Central Missouri, I can tell you they could have not chosen a better individual to receive this distinguished alumni award.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome 2020 UCM Distinguished Alumni Award winner, Chief Donna Lake.